Shalom everybody. In today's video, we will be entering into the secrets of world peace, part 2. The prerequisites for this video is that you have seen the first video entitled World Peace. I'll leave a link for that video down below. Now, the mysteries that are about to be revealed have never at any point been revealed. These secrets are the very light of God's glory. And it is upon seeing these secrets with our own eyes and revealing the divine in existence, we will come to world peace as a collective. It is written, "The earth is filled with His glory." Let's begin. Our first subject will be in the secret of the Tzimtzum, or the secret of the restriction. In the first video, we learned that there were 3 heads to the Atik, and they were Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Or, referring to the endless, its restriction, and the hard spark, which was placed directly in the center. Now first, let us understand a secret of the restriction. With the withdrawing of the light from all directions precisely in the center, it created a vacancy where there was no vacancy. Now, this withdrawing was likened to a descent, for both depth and density would come into existence. It is precisely this depth and density in this vacancy that gives us our allegory. The term death is used by our sages to describe descent. Thus, when it says such and such died, it refers to certain lights that are descending from one grade to another grade. Here's our understanding regarding the nature of the wife of Adam Kadmon. First, we need to understand that Adam Kadmon is the circular aspect. An example, the concentric circles of the restriction. Regarding this, Eitz Chaim states, "It is the aspect of the circle of the Keter of Adam Kadmon. There is a second circle within this circle, which is called the circle of the Chokmah of Adam Kadmon. The 10 circles follow this concentric pattern until the 10th innermost circle, and it is called the circle of the Malkut of Adam Kadmon." Thus we find that the Keter of Adam Kadmon circles and envelops the Chokmah of Adam Kadmon, which circle and envelops the Bina of Adam Kadmon, and this process continues until we arrive precisely to the center, where the light restricted itself. The endless light restricted itself into what is called the Malkut of Adam Kadmon. In relation to the Atik, it is called Bina. It is also the secret of the skull. Now, we learned that this teaches us if the light restricted itself from all directions precisely in the center, it took the form of a circular shape. From this, we derive that at the highest level of existence, everything is circular. An example, planets are circling stars, etc. And at the lowest level of existence, it too is the same. An example, we find electrons revolving around protons and neutrons, etc. But let us enter into a far greater and deeper mystery. In truth, this hard spark, which is mentioned here, as it is mentioned in the Zohar, states the following: Baresh hormnuta de melaka galif galufe betechiru ila'a botsina de kardenuta nafik gos dim destimo merisha de ein sof. In the beginning of the manifestation of the king's will, that is, when the king desired to emanate and create the world, a hard spark made an engraving upon the supernal light. This hard spark, which emanated from the most concealed of all concealed things, from the head of the endless. Now this hard spark is the secret of the 231 gates, as we discussed in the first video. And as the Zohar told us, it was placed precisely in the center of a circle. The Zohar then continues on and says, this hard spark took a shapeless form, and the spark was then inserted into the center of a circle. That is because we learned that this Adam Kadmon, which is the secret of these concentric circles, has a hard spark precisely in the center. This would refer to the Malkut of Adam Kadmon, a subject touched upon inside of Likutei. Now, let us enter into the secret of the identity of what the hard spark really is. Eitz Chaim tells us the following. It states, and the Sod Adam Kadmon Me'ala de Lilith. An example, Adam Kadmon, the husband of Lilith. And again, it states here as well, Adam Kadmon, the husband of Lilith. Thus, the identity of the hard spark is Lilith. This is the secret of the restriction. We know that Lilith is associated with death. Thus, everything that would be brought into existence with inside of the Simsum would ultimately die. This concurs with exactly what Ramchal stated. In 138 Openings of Wisdom, he states the following: because this was the whole reason why the Simsum took place, in order to bring into existence a place for evil. Thus, Lilith is associated with Kalmaves. Malkut is a saruf of the word Kalmaves, or all dead. She is depicted as being black, signified by the word Lilith, which is likened to the word Laila, meaning night. The general idea is to encapsulate upon the concept of blackness. Thus, everything that is brought into existence inside of the Simsum dies. Hence, when something rots, an example, a banana, is left out on a counter for too long, what color does it turn? It turns black. The same thing with our limbs. When our limbs rot, to what color do they turn? The answer is black. Therefore, she is associated in many places as a harlot, although in truth she is really not a harlot, because death essentially intermingles with everything in existence. Let us take it to a much higher level, and as to what I am about to reveal, in no place has it ever been revealed. But it is to the secret of God's glory and the secret of his da'as and his knowledge that I make what I'm about to reveal known to you all. I explained how the light was the secret of the 22 letters in a fixed state. I also explained how the withdrawing was in the secret of the 22 letters. Thus, at the smallest level of existence, we find the secret of 22 pairs of chromosomes. The 23rd is an X or Y genetic factor. However, this is only one key to the equation. Furthermore, I also revealed how when the endless light began to pour into this vacancy, it formed a linear sphirot, or linear tree. The openings of Eitz Chaim discuss precisely this matter. An example, the secret of the linear sphirot and the circular sphirot. The general idea, although not discussed in Eitz Chaim directly, but being revealed here, is that at the smallest level of existence, everything is circular. And at the largest level of existence, everything is also circular. Everything in between this and that, an example, the smallest level and the largest level, is linear. It shows that we are linear existences, composite of revolving aspects, existing within larger revolving aspects. This evidence and these levels and these keys are seen at the smallest level of existence. Maintaining the understanding that there is a circular aspect and a linear aspect, so too do we find at the smallest level of existence precisely this, in that it is by 22 letters and not any other set of letters. Furthermore, I cannot stress enough the secret of what you, the viewer, are being exposed to. At no point in human history has an Elon like the one you are currently viewing ever come into existence. And those in which did attempt to map these things out were never able to reveal the Atzilus or the Atzil, as you are all bearing witness to. Now, I stated that everything at the highest level was circular and the lowest level was circular, and everything in between this and that was linear. Let us see the true levels of these mysteries and the secret of knowing God. The linear aspect of the light, which was in the secret of the 22 letters that are revealed, is in the secret of the human DNA, which also takes the shape and form of linear strands. And again, here we see the evidence that it was precisely the 22 letters of the Lashon HaKodesh. And so we see that in the linear strand, an example in relation with the linear light, there are 22 letters to our DNA. An example, 22 pairs of chromosomes. And in the aspect of the heart spark, which contained within inside of it the divine pattern, and also the secret of the 22 letters, which was in the same light that the linear light was formed from, so too we saw the linear light in the human DNA, which were linear strands. Also in the mitochondrial DNA, we find mitochondrial DNA is circular. And what do we read here? It contains 22 tRNA. An example, it too contains the secret of the 22 letters. Let's take it to a much higher level. I reveal to you all that the heart spark is the secret of Lilith, the wife of Adam Kadmon. This is the heart spark. I also revealed that she is the secret of death. Let us determine and find out what the mitochondria does. We learn here that the mitochondria regulates cell death. An example, the mitochondria is what determines when a cell dies. Exactly the purpose of Lilith, which, as has been explained to you, is the secret of that heart spark. We learned that the heart spark was circular at the lowest level, and we find the mitochondrial DNA to be circular. We also find that the mitochondria is responsible for the regulation of cell death, which is exactly her function. Now we find that there are 37 genes to the mitochondria. 37 is a numerical value of the word Yechida. We find here that there are 2 RNAs, 22 tRNAs, which is the secret of the letters, as has been made known, and 13 polypeptides. Now these 13 polypeptides are alluded to at the beginning of the Zohar, where it says the following. Rabbi Hezekiah opened the discussion with the verse as the lily among the thorns. He asked, what is the lily? And he replies, it is the congregation of Israel, which is Malkut. Because there's a lily and there's a lily, just as the lily among the thorns is tinged with red and white, so is the congregation of Israel affected by the qualities of judgment and mercy. Just as the lily has 13 petals, so the congregation of Israel is surrounded by the 13 attributes of mercy. Now, Lilith is called a Cushite or an Ethiopian. It's hinted at in the verses, "Do not look upon me for I am black," etc. Regarding this, we find the origin of the mitochondria happens to be the following. We see here in an article from the National Library of Medicine, Ethiopian mitochondrial DNA heritage. This is referred to as the mitochondrial Eve. In human genetics, the mitochondrial Eve, more technically known as the mitochondrial most recent common ancestor, shortened to MT-Eve or MT-MRCA, is the matrilineal most recent common ancestor, MRCA, of all living things. In other words, she is defined as the most recent woman from whom all living humans descend in an unbroken line purely through their mothers, and through the mothers of those mothers back until all lines converge on one woman. We see over here that it is associated with having emerged from Africa. In paleanthropology, the recent African origin of modern humans, or the out of Africa theory, OOA, is the most widely accepted model of the geographic origin and early migration of anatomically modern humans. It follows that the early expansions of hominids out of Africa, etc. We thus find our link. We find that the mitochondria, which is the secret of Lilith, is also the secret of the Cushite. The Cushite is the Ethiopian, and we find the mitochondrial Eve is linked to this place precisely here in our world, which is but an archetype or a pattern of the divine mysteries above. Now it was also explained to you all that the heart spark contained inside of it the secret of the 231 gates. That is to say, the divine form of the human being, an example, the tree of the face and a kether, the tree of the body, etc. This was all explained and made known in the first part. Now, continuing this understanding that the heart spark is the secret of the mitochondria here, we see the mitochondria plays essential roles in cell division, mitochondrial fusion, fission, transport, contacts with the endoplasmic reticulum, and mitophagy. All contribute to maintaining a homogeneous population that can be partitioned equally to daughter cells. Thus, the entire process of cell division is assisted by, or if not run by, the mitochondria itself, which, in addition to assisting with the cellular division, which hints to the very formation of our being, that is to say, the divine pattern that was revealed to you to be in the heart spark, but also it plays the role of when cells are to die. Returning to these divine keys, which are the chambers of the Holy One, blessed be He, the revelation of His glory, the evidence of His omnipotence in all of existence. Now we will enter into one last aspect, that being the secret of the 231 gates as it relates to the circular aspect. Sefer Yetzirah states, He placed them in a circle, and yet this mystery has never been expounded until now. The precipice of this idea is found in Gate 1 of Omek HaMelech, The Depths of the King, written by one of the disciples of the Arizal. Here he reveals the 231 gates. It explains at the beginning of this gate, he tied the ends with the beginnings that they would be endless. An example, he took one sequence and tied it with a second sequence. Having tied them together, Aleph with every letter with Aleph, Beit with every letter with Beit, they repeat in a cycle, etc. Here we're viewing the 231 gates as it was shown in the likeness of a wall. But what happens when we place it in a circle? This, an example, is the partsuf for Keter, dealing with the letter Aleph. We find this exact shape. An example, by placing the 231 gates in a circle and simply marking the place where the beta sequence takes place, it forms the true mystery. That is to say that the Kether of all of the worlds, which is in the secret of the 231 gates, takes this likeness and shape, This, of course, would refer to galaxies, which are the kether of our worlds. An example here. A great example can be seen here. And so each single letter of the 231 gates, when they are placed in a circle, create varying patterns. And these varying patterns are seen archetypally as the formation of the various shapes of the galaxies, which are the kether of all of the worlds here in this reality. In addition, it forms perfectly the Fibonacci sequence, and it is precisely according to this exact sequence all things are formed. As an example, we see in relation to the formation of shells, plants, the galaxy, pine cones, etc. It's found all over the natural order of life. And so many divine hidden mysteries have been made known to you in this video. We have learned the secret of the restriction, its blackness. You do not need to have faith or belief that when something dies and rots, it turns black. But it is the very knowledge of God. The same with the aspect of the linear and circular. We've seen it at the smallest levels in evidence in both the DNA of our human DNA and the mitochondrial DNA. Thus, the time is at hand to begin the awakening, to begin the revelation to God's glory. This brings us to our end. Contemplate very carefully the things that you've been exposed to in today's video. There is no faith or belief at these levels. There is only da'as, knowledge and assimilation. As David HaMelech said, "Open my eyes that I may behold the wonders of your Torah." Shalom, Selah.